Welcome to Beacon of Creation, a weekly podcast on game design through the lens of Magic the Gathering. I'm Tim.
Cord.
This week we're talking about Lorwyn Eclipsed, kind of signpost style. This set's a little funny to try to do signposts for, and we'll get into that. But also just to kind of check in on what Lorwyn's doing, like structurally for draft. They're moving the kind of a set template in a way that's different from what we usually see. Were you a Lorwyn head ahead of time? Were you excited to go back to Lorwyn?
I was excited to go back to Lorwyn, mostly for like some story and to check in on the Kithkins and the Tree Folk and more hybrid mana. But I haven't really touched this set, so the 5 cards that I've really looked at are the 5 students, which we won't be talking about on this podcast.
Okay.
I think I'm going into this with pretty fresh eyes.
I'm kind of on the other end. I've played a lot of Lorwyn Eclipsed. I've probably done 25, 30 drafts of it. So I know at least all the commons and uncommons really well. We do these signpost color pair by color pair breakdown episodes for most sets. And usually in most sets, there's 10 color pairs that matter. There's a gold card, maybe 2 gold cards per color pair at uncommon. There's like a description of what each of those 10 color pairs do. But Lorwyn sort of shakes that up in a couple ways. One of them is that there's only 5 main like advertised color pairs that also have support at the uncommon level. Merfolk, Goblins, Kithkin, Elementals, Elves. So just play this creature type. They have some distinctive mechanical thing about them as well. But yeah, there's 5 creature types. Any of those ones that jump out to you?
I've always been a big fan of Kithkin ever since I got utterly destroyed by them in 5th grade. But other than that, not particularly.
Fair enough. And then there are sort of 5 other archetypes for the other 5 color pairs, but not really. There's really 3. There's Vivid, Blight, and then the kind of Dimir specific, blue-black specific, flash deck, like instant cast things at instant speed. The other kind of structural thing to be aware of with the set is what it's doing for multicolor cards outside of rare. The kind of standard thing now, or for a couple of years, was to do like 2 uncommons for each color pair, and then not really any gold otherwise. Sometimes sets will mess around. They'll have like some gold commons or maybe some hybrid commons or something like that. Here we've got, like, in my mind, a totally custom sort of setup. At common, we have 10 hybrids, 1 for each color pair. And these are sort of split where the ones, like the 5 types that have a creature type associated, like Merfolk or Goblin or whatever, their hybrid card is that type. So there's a hybrid Goblin, a hybrid Merfolk, a hybrid Elemental. And then for the non-archetype ones, those are all changelings. So there's 5 changelings at common that are also hybrid. What do you
just looking at? On top of that, the 5 changeling cards are all French vanilla with changeling and then a keyword, except the Boros one, but that's just
first strike.
There's no keyword for first strike during your turn.
Some really simple French vanilla hybrids. And this is something I want to maybe think about or talk about a little bit, is what it does to your format if you have 10 hybrid commons. These hybrid commons are doing a bunch of other things, like they're multicolor for Vivid, and they are changeling for like creature type matters stuff.
For example, Prideful Feastling, having a 2/3 lifelinker in, all but 2 or 3 decks.
Yeah.
You got it in Golgari, you have it in Boros, you have it in Rakdos. Like, these cards play like the what you normally have as colorless cards, but they can be a little bit stronger.
Wizards is typically really conservative with the power level of common artifact creatures, like colorless creatures. And here they're a little bit better. Like the Simic one is like Giant Spider, but with an extra power. I would say that these cards are not like the cards you're trying to pick, but they are good enough. They do have an effect on the battlefield. I think the other kind of interesting thing about the way that they did the other 5 commons, so the type commons, is that they also tie into their archetype a little bit. So like the Goblin cares about Blight, the Elemental cares about expensive spells, the Merfolk has Convoke, the Elf card cares about Graveyard, the Kithkin card cares about creatures entering. So they also use those as a way to like make sure that every deck that is attempting to play with that creature type, just like a check-in of like, here's the thing to look for. So these are kind of signposty as well.
Yeah.
The other kind of thing to get out of the way before we get into the bulk of the episode is that there are 15 gold or multicolor uncommons, but 5 of those are just exactly the same card with different stats. So there are these Eclipsed cards: Eclipsed Boggart, Eclipsed Elf, Eclipsed Flamekin. I can't say Eclipsed. These are all hybrid creatures that when they enter, you look at the top for an elf. There's like Elf Swamp Forest or like Merfolk Plains Island, something of that card type, of that color pair, and you get
Archetype
to
and
draw
color
that.
pair.
Yeah. And if you are this deck, these cards are excellent. These are like B pluses because they are relevant creatures that also draw you a card and probably draw you an above average card.
They're also all scouts.
Oh.
I don't know if there's any like untethered creature type matters, but if you're playing like a vivid deck and you have one card that's looking for the greatest number of creature types, and you're playing all 5 of these, that might do something.
There you go. They're worth noting because they are both like heavy color committed for that pair. Like the goblin one is triple black red hybrid, so you kind of need to be playing just black red or barely any splash. These are cards that are like not just committed because they are not very good if you aren't that creature pair, but they also just require a lot of dedication to the color as well.
I see. Oh, we do have them. Okay. I was interested because it does search for these Eclipse cards do search for either of the 2 basic land types of their color, and they don't specify basic. So I was seeing if we had typed duels in this format, and we do. You have the shocklands at rare, so
There you go. You get to flex on
you
people.
can fetch a 3rd color with these sometimes.
Yeah, there you go. It's not like a Dominaria United or something where there are type duels at common.
Yeah, there's no basic type duels, so you're not doing it every time.
Yeah, it's funny when one of the main archetypes of the set is play a lot of colors of permanence. You have to have some defense around some of the other cards where you say, hey, multicolored deck, you don't get to play any card in the set. Not everything is good for you. Some of these are just for the real ones.
Yeah.
I guess the other piece that people have talked about that I wanted to think through a little bit is part of the push for Lorwyn Eclipsed was that it was like pick 2 compatible. So pick 2 is the draft format where you play with 4 players and you pick 2 cards out of each pack. So the draft is very fast, and then in paper, what you're supposed to do is play each other player once. Play a best of 3 against each of the other 3 players. On Arena, they have different sort of pick 2 formats. But one of the things about pick 2 is that there are half as many cards opened, so it's a little harder to get playables to the people who need them. And then it's extra rewarding to find the open color because, you're only potentially competing against 3 other players. So there's usually some free color in a 4-player draft. And I think hybrid is part of the solution for that. Hybrid is a part of the way to say, hey, there are these cards that are kind of for everybody that don't just funnel to one player. They can be opened and played by anyone at the table.
I've seen decks either, especially with formats not intended for pick 2, the decks either end up kind of unaimed, like they're just trying to get what they can get,
Yeah.
or they are really narrow and
I lucked out.
like they've locked in and they're sometimes even monocolor.
Yeah, I found, so I probably did 20, 25 pick 2 drafts because I really wanted to understand it. The thing that I sort of ended up gravitating to and sort of my working theory for what pick 2 does to a format is that there are probably a couple loud archetypes in your set. I would say the loudest ones in this set are Merfolk and Elves. Those are the ones that people are trying for the most. Whatever color pairs those are going to be heavily kind of picked over. The conclusion that I came to, if you look at those 2 color pairs, is that the missing out one is red. So I ended up like sort of defaulting to expecting that red will be the most open one. And so I want to have something kind of red based when I'm drafting pick 2 there. And I'm kind of curious when we see more pick 2. I think Ninja Turtles will also probably have pick 2 in it. I'm kind of curious as we see more sets if the same mechanic happens or the same dynamic happens. It felt like kind of a mistake to me to go hard on the creature type matters stuff because there are half as many cards open, so it's like half as likely that you get floated the like 5th pick sick gold uncommon.
Yeah.
but I still played against plenty of them. So people still wanted really badly to do the Merfolk deck or the Elf deck.
Those two decks are also the two that the gold uncommon for them is a Lord.
Oh, like a straight up +1/+1. Yeah, that's a
Straight
decent
up.
point.
So I wonder if that does anything to it.
Yeah, that's a good thing to talk about when we get into it. All right, so why don't you kick us off with the first archetype here, and we'll start reading some cards.
Our first archetype is Merfolk.
Hmm.
Use a variety of tricky tapping synergies to cast your spells for cheap and disrupt your opponents.
The gold card here is called Deep Channel Duelist. This is white and blue, 2 mana for a 2/2. At the beginning of your end step, untap target Merfolk you control. Other Merfolk you control get +1/+1. Oh, so to review for these archetype cards, we didn't even say that up top. We got 3 categories here. We got excitement. How cool does this archetype seem? Accuracy. How likely is it that, if we say this is what the color pair does, are they actually doing that? Is the archetype actually going to be about that when you play it? And the third one is synergy. Does this gold card make other cards more powerful? Does it form a kind of cohesive, really make a strategy better than the sum of the cards? How about for Merfolk? What are you thinking excitement wise?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm excited.
You want to do it?
Historically, knowing what Merfolk have done in the past, this lines up very well with what I'd expect of Merfolk.
Yeah.
Which makes me very excited to play Merfolk.
How do you feel about the twist of this like convoke, tap on tap kind of thing?
I mean, Convoke has been pretty fun every time I've played with it, in Mom or Time Spiral. Being able to just have effectively a blue-white mana dork by untapping a creature, for my Convoke spells that I'm playing at instant speed, that sounds pretty fun.
Yeah. Make all your Merfolk bigger and then also kind of give them vigilance or let them convoke more. So excitement sounds like you're at a 5.
I think so.
Hey.
We might come back and adjust it because it could just end up being very excited about all of the Lorwyn archetypes coming back. So
you know what? You're on the show. You get to say whatever you want. Excitement. Was I at a 5 with this? It's still very appealing, and the Merfolk here are like also kind of tokeny. Convoke is a fun mechanic to play with. It's very, the sequencing really matters. I need a lot of different ways to get evasive. I have a bunch of cards that care about getting tapped or that tap other Merfolk. So I have a bunch of different pieces. I think I'm probably closer to a 4, but Merfolk are definitely a really fun thing. This is kind of interesting because going to these other categories, I've played the set a lot and I know which archetypes work and which don't, but you haven't. So we might have different opinions on some of these categories because I can't totally divorce myself from all the play experience I got with the set.
yeah,
But in terms of accuracy, if you're playing blue-white, do you think you're going to also be Merfolk? Are there going to be a lot of blue-white non-Merfolk decks?
seeing this card and the knowledge that we already have with that, there's a card that potentially draws me Merfolk and some common changelings. I think I'm going to be able to do Merfolk stuff. I don't particularly see that if I'm playing blue-white, I'm not going to at least have 4 or 5 other Merfolk in the deck proper.
Yeah.
And that's not counting any tokens I might make.
Or if I try to play blue-white and I don't have a lot of Merfolk, it's just over, is maybe another read on accuracy.
I think if that happens, from at least what I know, is that like I haven't actually drafted blue-white. I've drafted all of the blue-black hybrids and white-black hybrids or things like that.
All right, so I think this is pretty close to a 5 on accuracy. You are playing Merfolk, and tap on tap does fully matter.
Yeah.
If you just try to play lots of weenies, there isn't quite enough pump to get you there. You need to be getting ahead by getting some pretty big spells for cheap by convoking them. And then synergy, I think that's also pretty high. This is really making me immediately question this whole system as it applies to Lorwyn. Because we just came out right at the gate where you're 5/5/5 on the very first thing we talked about. And I don't think I would argue against it.
Kindred archetypes tend to always have at least a good amount of synergy.
Yeah.
So it's hard, especially in a set that really reinforces that for that synergy to
Yeah.
not be high.
Yeah. This is interesting. Yeah. This whole grading scheme might be kind of awkward in a set like this. We'll see.
See, we could have things that are not accurate.
Yeah.
You know, we could. It says goblins, but it really means attack, right?
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's hop into goblins. Maybe this will just
Yeah,
be a turbo speed episode because like 555, 555, 555, 555.
we'll see.
We got goblins in black red. Throw boggarts at every problem. Find ways to put -1/-1 counters on your disposable goblin forces and reap rewards.
Interesting.
Why don't you give us that gold card?
Our gold card here is Boggart Curse Crafter. For a black and a red, you get a 2/3 Goblin Warlock with Death Touch, and whenever another goblin you control dies, this creature deals 1 damage to each opponent.
All right, a
Huh.
little aristocracy kind of thing going
Aris-
on.
Aristocrats, when you're sacking your goblins or just swinging in hard,
Yeah.
you do definitely want goblins. It mentions goblins by name, so you don't really care about your non-goblins dying.
Yeah, yeah. I would say the fallback on this is a little better than the merfolk. If you don't have a lot of merfolk, the merfolk lord is just a 2/2 for 2 with a bad with that does nothing.
It can end with vigilance.
It can untap itself. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Whereas this is a 2/3 and also has death touch, so it's a little bit better of
Yeah.
a baseline card. Maybe that means that they had less faith in it. I don't know. I guess we also had the thing that we've seen in some of these archetype episodes where like fully half of the gold cards are 2 mana creatures. Like somehow you need the 2 mana gold card to like really cement your play style. We're
Yeah.
2 for 2 on that so far.
Yeah. I'm excited to play. I think I would like if I get this card and I already have some goblins, of course I'm gonna play it.
Hmm.
But am I going to pick this to try and go for the goblin archetype early on? I don't know.
You don't see this and say like I'm all in, or like you're in pick 2 and you see the gold card and it's just a random common. You just slam. Let's take them right now, which maybe you sounded like you wanted to do with Merfolk.
Yeah.
All right.
If I see 2 murders in the pack, I'm taking 2 murders over this.
That's a good thing to remember when thinking about black red in this format. All right, so excitement sounds like you're 3.
I think a 3.
All right, accuracy. Do you think that black red will just be about goblins or about -1/-1 counter goblins?
I can see the -1/-1 counters here. You know, blight. This creature lets you blight it twice, right, and still be
Yeah.
alive even if it has
Yeah.
0 power,
Mhm.
and it wants you to, blight your goblin tokens. Sorry, I'm just realizing it's more reason to have high power death touch blight.
Yeah, blight.
But getting lots of goblins out and letting them die, I think that is
Yeah.
accurate.
Okay. What do you want to give it?
I think a 4 because you're still just gonna want to play with all black red archetypes. You're gonna want to play your shocks and your murders as well alongside these.
I guess for me, having played with it a little bit, which is a little unfair, I'm going to go a little bit lower, 2 or a 3. Black red is often quite open, and you can get a lot of removal spells. But in my experience, what you want to do is you get those like great removal spells, pretty readily, and then you need ways to kind of smooth out your draws. So it's a little less about just like having little aggro goblins that trying to burn down the opponent, a little more like I gotta expect to play kind of a long game. I need either like a lot of 2-for-1s, getting stuff out of my graveyard, or I need some of the card filtering stuff that red can give you. I have played against 1 or 2 like goblin decks, but at that same time I probably played against 20 merfolk decks. So I would say the goblin stuff doesn't quite land in my experience.
Yeah.
And then synergy wise, this card here, this one's like we talked about. We already kind of said it. This card does not need synergy quite as badly as the merfolk does. The merfolk one is only good if you're doing synergy. And then this curse crafter is like a solid creature that has some upside late in the game.
Yeah. If I have this or if I have goblins, they are making each other a good amount better.
Yeah, that's true. If you have ways of spewing out goblin tokens, this card becomes a lot better because it, providing 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage worth of reach to even a mid-range deck can often finish off your opponent out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Alrighty, you want to read us Kithkin?
Kithkin are the green-white archetype. Use the power of shared consciousness to spread abilities among Kithkin. The more Kithkin you play, the greater your thought weft grows. This reads like it should be slivers.
Yeah.
That's what I'm expecting reading that, is sliver-like abilities.
Yeah,
We'll see.
yeah. The gold card here, Thought Weft Lieutenant, which is another 2 mana, green and a white for a 2/2. Whenever this creature or another Kithkin you control enters, target creature you control gets +1/+1 and gains trample until end of turn. So this enters or your future Kithkin enter, you get to give away +1/+1 and trample to one creature.
Okay. I'm comparing this to the green-white archetype in Bro,
Okay.
which had something very similar with Artifact.
Hmm.
And because you could get a lot of artifacts out in one turn, thanks to Power Stones and stuff, it got really it got some big cool turns.
Oh yeah, I remember this
Do I
guy.
think I'm getting 2 or 3 Kithkin on my like big final turn? Maybe. Maybe not.
Yeah, a thing that the description mentions that I have not picked up playing the set is using the Thought Weft to spread abilities, which this card does. This card gives away trample. And I would say, like, when I run into this card, it giving away trample has been quite relevant, but I do not remember that ever happening elsewhere with these cards. Spreading abilities.
Maybe I want to, play this and just swing with my big non-trampoly rare, right?
Yeah.
Rather than necessarily go with Kithkin.
Yeah. All right, so from the description, hey, like slivers but little doll people, and then also looking at this gold card, where are you at for excitement?
2?
Yeah, I think if I saw a lot of cards that shared abilities, that would start to become kind of cool, but this is mostly just super plain green white.
Yeah.
Accuracy if you're playing green white. Yeah, this is kind of the test we had before of like, if you have a card that says you should only play Kithkin, should you only play Kithkin?
I don't even think I want to curve out with this. I think I'm not even playing this turn 2.
Okay.
If I'm on turn 2, I don't have anything on board, I'm probably not wanting to play this. Unless I really need that 2/2. I wanna use this on my big dumb green beater.
Yeah.
And let it swing in the late game, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so this is either the sharing abilities component or play Kithkin feels fairly low.
Yeah.
Focus on Kithkin, you play into this Thought Weft Lieutenant, maybe you get some Kithkin tokens. How much are you rewarded? What's your synergy here?
I think I'm 4.
Okay.
I think it's similar to how the Goblin feels in terms of synergy.
I think I'll probably go a little lower. Your ability to get a lot of payoff from this isn't that high, and I haven't really played against I've played against plenty of green-white decks, but not like super Kithkin-y, this is all about Kithkin matter kind of stuff. I would say the biggest draw into Kithkin is a green card, Miss Meadow Council, which is a 4 and a green for a 4/3. When it enters, draw a card, and it costs 1 less if you control another Kithkin. I love this card. Just a 4-mana 4/3 draw card. Holy cow. I'm staying in this game. I'm solving the green-white problem of running out of cards by just drawing a card every time I play my guy. Our next one is Elementals. Burn bright like a flamekin. Cast big spells to unleash seismic elemental power.
Our card here is Twin Flame Travelers. 2 blue-red for a elemental sorcerer. It's a 3/3 with flying, and if a triggered ability of another elemental you control triggers, it triggers an additional time. And it has 5 lines of flavor text.
They want you to know all about this.
Hey, it's got Ashling flavor text. I love Ashling. I want to play this in a Chaos draft with M21. Had the Elementals. Had Risen Reef.
Yeah, just Risen Reef specifically.
Yeah, with Risen Reef. I want to play this with Risen Reef. It was saying spells? Big spells. Big ETBs?
Yeah,
Maybe.
there's kind of two components to the elementals here. One of them we'll get into later is vivid. A lot of the elemental stuff is vivid based, but then almost all the elementals in the set have a trigger,
Mm.
which is kind of cool. Sometimes they're triggers that are like ETB or die triggers, and some of them are like, when this happens, trigger and do something. And some of those triggers are like when you cast a spell that costs 4 or more. But overall, that is barely a theme in the set, the 4 or more thing.
You know what this card really wants me to do? It
What's that?
wants me to play Lorwyn Morningtide Shadowmoor Eventide Lorwyn Eclipse sealed.
Mm. Do you want all the
Just
evoke
evoke
cards?
elemental, all the evoke elementals. Yeah,
Evoke itself is sadly only on the 5 mythics, but the spirit of Evoke is with some of the other elementals.
yeah. Uh, you know, I don't know if it makes me want to play blue red in this set,
Hmm.
but it does make me want to play Magic the Gathering, and I think that's worth a 4.
Okay. I was pretty excited about elementals here. I like blue red. That's like a color pair, one of my favorites. I think the emphasis on everything's a trigger is kind of a fun twist. The cast big spells thing is not really a thing. There's one card that really cares about it, but overall, it's more just about I got all these guys that have enter abilities.
If your best triggers are on your most expensive cards,
Hmm.
then you do want to play the big spells.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, it's just a 4 mana flying 3/3.
Yeah, it's like a solid enough creature.
Yeah.
It is the like limited thing of like this cannot be the first good creature I play because it will get killed
No.
immediately.
Yeah, no.
I
If
have to have some sort of bait before it.
I'm on turn
Uh,
4 and I've only played an Eclipsed Flamekin before
yeah,
this,
yeah,
this card's just gonna get
yeah.
bolt murder. I don't know if they have a Strangling Vines in this format, but
Hmm.
Strangling Vines destroy
Kill a
target creature
flying.
with flying.
Yeah, yeah, that is
Yeah.
one of those. It's funny because we talked about the first 3 gold cards were all 2 mana creatures, so they're a little more unassuming. They're going to survive on the battlefield for a while. This Twin Flame one is like, kill this or I'm going to pull really far ahead, which is a nice promise out of your uncommon. I don't know. All right. So, how do you feel about elementals overall? Do you think this kind of like triggery thing will matter? Do you think the kind of big spell thing will matter?
I think the triggery thing will matter. I don't know about the big spell, other than big spells will probably have bigger triggers.
Hmm.
Elemental might just be a tagline that comes on creatures with good ETBs in this format.
So, you're thinking 3 or 2 ish,
3,
it sounds like.
I think 3. Some parts of it, yes. Some parts of it, no.
I think that's fair enough. I think when we get into it a little bit later, elementals also bleeds really heavily into vivid, so you're usually not playing just elementals, though sometimes you are. You're also trying to do vividy stuff, which loves to be doubled for what it's worth.
I mean,
Uh,
if the big number is 5,
yeah,
double it and get 10.
yeah, yeah. All right, and then synergy here. Does this card make other cards a lot better? It only doubles elemental triggers, so I really have to be dedicated to that, like we were saying.
I think kind of the baseline that I want to hit is if there's triggers that make tokens or draw cards,
Yeah.
any of those, I'm feeling really good about.
Uh,
If it's, scry or maybe tap down a creature, yeah, okay. If I get enough of them, I'll feel really good. So I think I like that. I think it's going 4.
all right. This card is specifically pretty synergistic, so I think this card does not lie
Yeah.
to you. Whereas maybe that Kithkin one, the Thoughtwef Lieutenant, is a little fibby.
I can play that one alone. I can't play this one really alone.
I guess that's true. Yeah. All right, the final one, the one that was kind of a guaranteed hit before they even designed a card for it. Or black green elves.
Ooh,
Yeah, black red elves. That would be something.
that'd be something. Maybe in Reality Fracture.
Oh, yeah, there you go. We're not that far away from that. We're like 6 months away from reality fracture, something like that.
I know we're one in universe magic set away from that. Just Strixhaven.
Yeah. All right. Harness the cycle of nature and use your graveyard as a resource to overwhelm your opponents.
All right. And our card here is Morkant's Loyalist, 1 black green for a 3/2 elf warrior. It has other elves you control get +1/+1, and when this creature dies, return another target elf card from your graveyard to your hand.
Hmm.
Okay, so when this eats a removal, you get a different elf back. That's quite nice.
How you feel about elves in general, and what this card makes you feel about elves in this set?
Elves in general, I mean, a 3 mana elf lord is pretty decent. We've seen it a few times, with other upside.
Hmm.
This one has insurance if it gets blown up, and it's insurance that, in this limited environment will get you probably something that you're gonna enjoy to keep playing, right? You may have blighted away another one of your elves earlier in the game. You might blight this away to get something else back that might be what you need to win.
Hmm.
I think that's interesting because it's not
Hmm.
just play elf tokens, right? It's play elf cards.
Mm-hmm.
Feels a lot like kind of call timey.
Yeah, we're getting a firm black influence on elves here. It kind of fits part of the direction of
Oh yeah,
especially the Shadowmoor elves, of like, we are ruthless, we get rid of everything we don't approve of.
oh, that's the
When you look at this card, you're always getting a reasonable deal, unless you just can't draft any elves at all, unless the elves are
yeah,
completely gone.
exactly.
Yeah, I think I'm more of a 3 on elves. I've done enough elves. Kaldheim kind of already did the Golgari elf thing. Not to say it's not a good idea. And then accuracy. If you're playing black green, are there other ways to play black green in the set besides elves?
If it's graveyard, this makes you want to do elf graveyard. So
Hmm.
you're probably not getting too far away from elves.
Yeah.
I assume there's going to be other elves here that, maybe want to sacrifice themselves or maybe have abilities from the graveyard, things like
Hmm.
that.
Like, do you think you'll be elves without the graveyard? With like, not graveyard matters. It's just like
Yeah.
I get a little redundancy, or do you think graveyard will matter specifically?
If you play elves without the graveyard here, I think you're going to be hamstringing yourself.
So probably high accuracy.
Yeah.
Synergy. We can kind of buzz through these. We are just rating
Yeah.
a lot of these really high compared to our normal archetype episodes, and I think that's sort of by design for the set, where these are very linear things to shoot for. Synergy, yes, this
Yeah.
rewards more elves. It's kind of bad if you don't play elves.
Like I think they're all in the 4 to 5 range, but I would put
Yeah.
this actually closer to what we had Merfolk at with the 5.
Okay. I can
Uh,
believe that.
just because I really kind of don't want to play a 3 mana 3/2 that does nothing. Like if I have absolutely no other elves, right? I probably don't want to play this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, so those are the 5 main archetypes. And then the remaining ones are like kind of grouped. There's Gruul and Simic, Vivid, Boros and Orzhov Blight, and then Dimir Flash. But we'll look at each of these uncommons just to kind of get them all their day in the sun. But they don't have a description from wizards and blah 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 blah. So the Gruul one is Noggle Robber. Noggle is like a horse face person. It's 1 hybrid, so 3 mana for a 3/3 in Gruul. When this creature enters or dies, create a treasure token.
Oh,
So if I'm trying to play some Vivid, if I'm trying to, play a lot of colors, I'm trying to get a lot of color permanence on my battlefield, how do I feel about this Noggle?
it's a hybrid card. It gets two colors for you existing,
Yeah.
right? Just being on the battlefield.
Hmm.
And then the treasure token lets you play that third color or fourth, playing a different hybrid card. So I think this does a good amount, despite being a pretty simple card.
Yeah.
I just kind of want to toss it in a deck that wants one of those things or two of those things.
It's also got kind of a cool baseline power level. So it's like, take this card no matter what. And if you happen to find yourself in Vivid, it's a
Yeah.
bonus. Like if this enters and then trades on the same turn, you could have play a 6-drop on turn 4.
Ooh.
It has some power built in.
Yeah. Maybe like a 4.
Okay, you're into it.
I'm into it.
The other vivid uncommon is Glister Bairn, which is like a little kid in a raccoon suit, but he's also an oof. Not quite sure.
That's all the oofs in Lorwyn. They're all in like little like suits
Yeah.
by the river.
2 and 3 hybrid Simic, so 5 mana, 3 of which is Simic, for a 1/4. And Vivid, at the beginning of combat on your turn, another target creature you control gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of colors among permanents you control. So baseline 2, because this is a 2-color permanent, but potentially, 3 or 4, maybe even 5 if you're crazy.
There's 5 mana.
Yeah.
Could see this in maybe playing along with Merfolk, maybe playing along with Kithkin.
Just a curve topper to punch through like a ground guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're doing Vivid, those two archetypes are, you're adding another color for that, so you're hitting +3/+3, and that's giant growth every turn. Not bad.
Yeah. This has been a little bit tough. This is a card that appeals to me, but it's been hard for me to play it because it's not really good in a slow deck because it's not that great at defense. It's kind of expensive. You only have maybe 4 or 5 slots for expensive cards in a deck, and it's hard for this to be one of them. So it kind of wants to be curve top, but then curve top maybe is only like Merfolk. Whereas like elementals, elves, those are more value-y. They're going to take a longer time.
Yeah, the triple Simic makes this feel kind of hard, especially with the Vivid.
Yeah. I guess if you have hybrid, like 5 mana hybrid cards that aren't really color dedicated, like if you just have 4 in a hybrid, that's like so close to colorless because it's like a late drop, so you could even splash for it. So maybe they're just trying to turn the knob up of like, not everyone gets this card, I guess. I don't know, to keep it out of Merfolk's hands.
Merfolk's probably going to be able to play this, I think, with just a slight blue lane.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, for what you've seen so far, do you want to play Vivid? We got some common hybrid everywhere. We've got some treasure generation. What are you thinking?
I've, in past sets when there's been a thing that cares about, how many colors you have, I've always enjoyed doing that with like tokens and stuff, or like the flip morphs from Murders at Karlov Manor. But the 2 cards that are kind of signposts for it don't particularly like they seem like good cards, but they're not making me say I want to play the Vivid deck. They're making me say, oh yeah, these are cards that I might want to play in a different deck that will be slightly better because I'm playing them in a different, in a off color deck. They feel more like, oh, we'll splash it rather than going all in on Vivid.
There's this cool variety of decks between just like the blue-red elementals for elemental's sake deck and then the kind of like elementals but on the Vivid side. And I think one of the nice things about that is that it's not just a green-backed thing in this set. There's red fixing. Like there's a red 4-drop that makes a treasure. There's a red mana creature. So you have this opportunity to be like red base, splashing a decent amount of blue and like a little bit from a couple other colors to get Vivid, and then Vivid payoffs in red. But then you also have the traditional green stuff where you can just play a lot of colors.
Yeah.
So you get like a nice variety between those 2 types. All right, the other main archetype to the set is Blight. Why don't you read one of the Blight cards for us?
We'll go with Reaping Willow for 1 hybrid white black, hybrid white black, hybrid white black. So that's 1 and 3 white or black mana for a 3/6 Treefolk Cleric. It has lifelink. This creature enters with 2 -1/-1 counters on it, making it a 1/4. And 1 and a white Remove 2 counters from this creature. Return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Potent card. It comes in as like a 1/4 with 2 charges, 2 charge
Yeah.
counters, but it sort of grows as it uses up those charge counters.
Yeah. If this was in like another set, right? It's a 1/4 that says not quite, but kind of says exhaust to one
Yeah.
in a Orzhov hybrid, reanimate a thing and put 2+1/+1 counters on this. That's a
Yeah.
cool card
Yeah.
already. And now you're saying, if I have Blight, I can do that again.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's this kind of mixture of like being extra juice, but also being really specific to people who happen to be in black white, because it is
Yeah,
that triple black white
got that
mana.
triple hybrid, and the
Yeah.
ability has the hybrid on it.
It's a little hard to play this in the full Mardu Blight deck. Though I do it sometimes.
This just reading this card reminds me of the first set I was designing, which was a -1/-1 counter set.
Hmm.
Um, that a lot of cards in that set had this enters with X minus and an amount of -1/-1 counters on it, and had something that removed it. And so seeing it on canon cards is really exciting. Makes me want to go back and rework that set.
That's cool. Get a little inspired.
Yeah, it's like how the Is It card made me want to play Magic the Gathering. The Orzhov cards make me want to make Magic the Gathering.
Awesome. The other kind of blight card. It's kind of interesting because there are a lot of blight payoffs and blight enablers in the set. And I think that like this one is maybe not one of the ones that actually is that. This is just a generic card. Hovel Hurler, hovel like a hut or whatever. It's 5 mana, 3 Boros for a creature giant warrior. It's a 6/7 that enters with 2 -1/-1 counters. So it enters as a 4 or 5. And then you can pay 2 Boros mana to remove a counter from this creature. Another target creature you control gets +1/+0 and gains flying until end of turn as a sorcery. So as a game ender. How do you feel about this as a blight? Reason to blight.
It's nice to be able to do this a couple times throughout the game. If I need a blight target, this has a lot of toughness to keep going down with.
Yeah.
And because it's another target creature, I'm not even really attacking with it too much until I'm using it to make my other creatures fly. Maybe I'm putting 6 mana into this and doing like an alpha strike with 3 flyers and a hovel hurler.
Yeah, it becomes a better attacker when you go to use this ability. So it like charges along on the ground while a couple things are flying in the air.
Yeah, because you don't tap this down for that. So
Yeah.
it seems good with blight. It's kind of late enough that I'm not going to really care about. It's just a good enough. It's late enough and it's a good enough card that I don't know how much I'm blighting this, but it does play well with it.
It's like a little less blight specifically dependent and a little bit more like I'm a built-in alpha strike. I get to, yeah, help you kill your opponent. I think compared to like Glister Baron is the
Yeah,
one that like is a 1/4 that like doles out some bonuses at start of combat. This card is a little easier to use. It's easier to cast. It's a 4/5 instead of a 1/4. And giving flying is like kind of as good as giving stats. So
I mean it
yeah.
also gives a stat
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just saying the ability on this is kind of like casting a Thought Weft Lieutenant.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, so maybe it goes with whatever the Kithkin, uh, the if there's a big Kithkin, maybe you're including those together. I don't know. Blight seems fun.
Light is quite fun and it's quite functional. And a lot of game actions, a lot of doing stuff. Because this is like a slower, kind of grindier format, one of the things you have to kind of account for that we haven't had to do quite as much in recent years is like how you're going to survive a top deck battle. And in my experience, the antidote for that is a card Gristle Glutton, who's kind of unassuming. I wrote him off when I first saw him. 1 and a red for a 1/3, tap to blight 1 to discard, and then if you do, draw a card. Here you kind of get like 3
Oh.
charges, right? I get to blight 1 on this guy 3 times, and then
Mhm.
I loot 3 times. But when blight is also sort of like put a charge counter on something,
Uh-huh.
discard a card, then draw a card, uh, the card really comes to life.
If you are in top deck mode here too, if you've already cast that or played that card that you top decked, this just draws you a card. Discard isn't a cost.
Yeah, but it does say if you
Oh
do
no,
draw
if
a
you
card.
do, if you do, never mind.
Unfortunately, because it
I
would
was
be
like,
insane.
oh, that would be so cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's interesting they didn't put that as a cost. I guess if you just want to blight, huh? You can just blight if you don't have any cards in hand.
If you're empty-handed, you could blight 1, discard a card.
No, you could. Well, you just blight one. Yeah, you wouldn't have a
Yeah,
card to discard, right?
yeah.
So you can just put a charge counter. That's neat. Yeah.
It really also feels like with some of these like payoff cards, like the Hovel Hurler, where I am shedding counters. There's like a cheaper giant that also does this, but
Mhm.
like these are creatures that are chunky. Their stat lines are chunky, the 4 or 5, 6, 7, big
Yeah.
boys, 3 sixes. Um,
Toughness. Yeah.
I'm like taking on like a little bit of risk in the meantime, because I know eventually, given enough time, I will shed all these counters and I'll be strong again. But can I afford to right now get a little bit smaller, turn my giant into a 0-1,
Yeah.
and then shed all those counters on a future turn to get way far ahead?
Oh, that's so fun. Ah, man, I want to play this. I want to play Blight. Yeah.
And it's like the open, like I was sort of saying in the beginning, it is the open of the 5
Yeah, it
colors.
seems to be the
Yeah.
open draft.
So you get a chance to do it if you want to. Yeah, Blight's a nice little thing.
I better do it before this episode comes out.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure we're really swinging the Spike community. The last kind of archetype is really just around the one Dimir card, which is Voracious Tome Skimmer. This is a triple Dimir, 2/3 flying fairy, Voracious Tome Skimmer. And then when you cast a spell during an opponent's turn, you can pay a life if you do draw a card. This is such a specific card in my experience that you just fall into this deck once in a while. Like I've played this deck 3
Uh-huh.
times and it was like ludicrously open all 3 times. And I got 3 of them, I think 2 of the 3 times, 3 of this card. And this card is just like a plan by itself. You can get 9, 10, 11 flash or instant things and draw multiple cards.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just taking a look at what can you play alongside this, and there's 18 cards with flash.
Yeah.
So yeah,
There's like a blue card that pays it off. There's a black card that pays off casting on your opponent's turn, but they're pretty minor. It's mostly about this gold card here.
value. Can you play this alongside the Merfolk? Are you able to
Oh.
like maybe splash this and then convoke some spells?
Uh, there are some of the convoke spells are sorceries, and then the common is a creature, so might be a little tough. It's probably possible.
Because I see, I remember the end step on tap, right? It makes me think I'm maybe
Hmm.
convoking things.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. There is definitely some convoke. There's an important draw spell that's convoke. So,
Yeah.
do you want to live the flash lifestyle, the Demir flash?
I've never had a good time playing this archetype in
Hmm.
draft.
Okay.
Maybe this will finally do it, but it's not something I can really tell, I
Yeah.
think,
Fair enough.
from seeing the cards. This is a good payoff though. I've had a good time playing Flash.
When I played it, it was buttery smooth playing this flash deck. Like I just dismantled my opponent's game after game. It was really successful.
Yeah, always getting a card back when you're flashing stuff in
Yeah.
is like usually the thing you want to do when you have flash is either have removal or a card draw spell,
Yeah.
and then this kind of makes both of those better.
Yeah.
Right, you get three. If you're having a flash speed divination, instant speed divination, drawing 3 cards. If you're playing a murder, if you're murdering and drawing a card, yeah. Like this does seem like if any card's gonna pay off that flash archetype, this is it.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun card. All right. So archetype wise, we got the 5 main ones. We've got like kind of Vivid and Blight. What jumps out the most? Is it still Merfolk? Merfolk was your 5/5/5 to start. Is that still on top?
Oh, I think it's Blight.
Okay.
Yeah, Blight is definitely what is like calling me right now.
Hmm.
Merfolk is probably second. Following that, it might be Flash. I want to try it out at the very least.
Hmm. Okay. I think the one deck I haven't been able to do is being vivid enough to play a card called Shimmer Creep, which is a black vivid card. I think it's the only black vivid card I want to say. And it's like a 5 mana 3/5 menace. When it enters, you drain X life, where X is the number of colors of permanents you control. Drain 1, drain 2, drain 3. If you double it with the gold card, you drain 6 or 8 or 10. I haven't been able to do the Shimmer Creep deck, though I've seen it a couple times. That's the one I'm still on the hunt for.
Some nice Nils Ham art on that.
Yeah. Alrighty, cool. Do you like this kind of hybrid style, heavy hybrid, a lot of simple creatures on hybrid? Changeling is like the extra little sauce that puts hybrid over the top to me. I feel like the hybrid has an identity to it and also just full utility.
I enjoy it. I like seeing hybrid cards. We saw like a similar kind of, not quite the same setup because it was a much smaller set, but we saw a similar structure in
Hmm.
Spider-Man,
Yeah.
where we had 5 main archetypes and then 5 they weren't really archetypes in Spider-Man, but they had a couple of rares that made them playable.
Yeah. And
Um,
Spider-Man really had like 2 or 3 real archetypes and then a bunch of just play cards decks.
yeah,
Yeah, kind of reflecting on the difference because they're both built to
they're
be
both pick
compatible with
two.
pick 2. They both have a lot of hybrid usage. I think the hybrid usage is kind of nice overall. I think it's also maybe helped a little bit with um, kind of an overall factor in Magic, which is that play boosters, which have like one less card, are kind of awkward for sealed. You don't have nearly
Mhm.
as many commons to play with in any given color. But with hybrid, you're kind of adding those cards back in, so it's a little easier to hit playables.
Yeah,
Um, so hybrid might be a tool to help with that problem, where you have smaller pack sizes, but you still have enough good cards or enough playable cards.
we also saw an Avatar with the cycle of hybrid uncommons.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think we're gonna keep seeing these hybrid the use of hybrid. I assume
Hmm.
probably also in our next big set, which is our next full size set Strixhaven. So
The
probably
next canon one's definitely Strixhaven. I don't know if I think Ninja Turtles is Spider
Ninja
Man sized.
Turtles is the next. It's Spider-Man sized.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we're gonna see it probably again in Strixhaven because that's another 5. Historically,
yeah.
the
The
last
5 schools.
Strixhaven
Yeah,
set was the 5 schools, so we might see a similar draft archetype. We had the 5 students in this set, and they are the 5 colors of
yeah,
those schools. So
yeah.
I'm excited to see if Strixhaven brings this back with our returning students.
Yeah. Do we get hybrid in every set? Would that be an interesting way for like we had a couple years of play booster double uncommon archetype things? Are we instead
Yeah,
saying, hey, let's be a little looser, let's go a little hybrid, let's just have by default 5 or 10 hybrid cards at common a set? I don't know.
hybrid is the new DFCs.
Yeah. You know what? I like hybrid more than DFC, so that would suit me.
It kind of actually also does some of the same things that DFCs do for a draft environment, where you can have cards of this color or that color, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think hybrid play booster commons are kind of an interesting spot because we've been getting this kind of drumbeat of like play booster means every common is playable in some limited deck. Like we're not going to have
Yeah.
trashy filler commons like we might have had in Theros or whatever. And then hybrid kind of puts stress on that because hybrid, you kind of want to water them down a little bit.
But they're playable in more decks.
Maybe I would say with Lorwyn, they basically got there. Yeah, they're playable in more
Like,
decks. Maybe you got to find a niche for them. Maybe typing is part of how you get that. You say, "Hey, this is a I don't know, an orc
you,
card in the Hobbit, and because it's an orc, you don't want to play it in the decks that could play it. The Boros humans, you don't want to play in Boros humans because it is an orc. Maybe that's how you still create variety.
yeah.
Uh, I don't know. I guess the bonus question to end it on, not to blow it up too much. Hybrid and Commander, are you in favor of relaxed hybrid rules, or do you think the walls are good where they are?
I think the walls are good where they are, or should be removed completely. My kind of feeling on it is
Mm-hmm.
either it should be mana that restricts what colors you use, or they should be heavily restricted like they kind of currently are, where it's color identity.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think moving the wall a little bit isn't really worth the change.
Do you have an example of that?
Having to adjust decks and reevaluate a bunch of cards because they're now available in a bunch of so many other decks. I don't think it's
Mm.
worth doing uh worth making the change for just that,
Okay.
because it's a the walls where they are completely functional, right?
Mm. But you're saying like if you just say no color identity.
Yeah, if we just say no color identity, I think in general Magic's mana system is strong enough to make people wanting to play
Mm.
one or two
Oh,
color
okay.
decks
Yeah.
play
Huh.
them for the ease of playing them and not getting
Yeah.
color screwed.
Huh. Cool. Love the little check in there. All right. I think that's probably about it for Lorwyn, unless you got anything else you're trying to say.
Um, Not for Lorwyn.
Okay.
Pre-order the Secrets of Strixhaven book.
We're on that Vorthos cast push right now.
I'm a big Vorthos, and Sean and McGuire. I have read lots of Sean and McGuire books in the past year. I've read 12
Okay.
Sean and McGuire books in the past year, and I'm looking forward to
Wow.
a 13th this year.
All right. Curriculum of Chaos. Is that which one's the
Curriculum
book
of
name?
Chaos. Yeah.
All right. So that's about it for our main topic. Before we get out of here, I always like to tell people about our monthly challenge. This month it's February. I haven't had to read this yet. It's been Juliet so far. February Elemental. Design a 4/4 flyer with mana value 5. Have you made a card for this yet? There's been a million posts in this channel, so I haven't sorted
I
through all of them yet.
have made a card. I
Okay.
was I was the first post, and then I remade it, and now I'm like
Changed it.
the seventh or eighth post.
Oh yeah, we got a million submissions already. Holy
There's a
cow.
lot of submissions already.
I saw there was a ton of chatter. I hadn't looked at the submission channel yet. This is great. I love this. It's going to be easy to read these cards out when they're all 5 mana 4/4s with flying. uh, well, I'll look forward to your card as well, but we also have some bonus points if people want some jumping off points. February Angel, give it exactly one other keyword. Make it a flyer, but then make up a keyword or give it vigilance, I guess. And then Bru'er is human, make it a human. Human doesn't have to matter, it could just be a human. But what does it mean to be a giant flying human? Maybe it makes you Iron Man or something. I don't know. But anyhow, that'll be due February 27th. Always love to get those submissions. Love to have tons of cards to talk about. And that's about it for our pod for the week. Hop on the Discord, get in on all the discussion. Thanks for coming on, Cord. It's always great to have you on.
Always great to be here.
Well, if they need to find you, hit up the link tree, I guess, in the show notes. If you need to find
Yeah, you
me,
can
Discord is the place to do that. And most of all, everyone, thank you for listening.
do 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 do.
It is funny how saying that triggers the music.
I mean, that's what happens every week. Get to the end of the episode, and it goes